Hi everyone, welcome back to the latest episode of the Impact series hosted by 4Zero. Today, very pleased to be joined by Gillian-Alexandre Huart, who is the CEO of ENGIE Energy Access. Fantastic company that are making a really big impact in sub-Saharan Africa by providing solar solutions to communities that are typically off-grid. So Gillian, thanks for jumping on.
Michael, thanks for the invitation and thank you for hosting me today. Happy to be here.
My pleasure. So look, Gillian, for those people that aren't familiar with the company, it'd probably good to get a bit of context for you to give a quick introduction about ENGIE Energy Access and the mission you're on.
Yeah, sure. So ENGIE Energy Access is a subsidiary of ENGIE Group. ENGIE is a multinational based in Paris and providing energy, but also solutions to its customer worldwide. ENGIE Energy Access has been created in October 2020 when I took over my position of CEO in September. It's the combination of several companies, one innovation that started in another subsidiary of ENGIE, which is building and operating mini grids, and two acquisitions of SHS, so solar home system products that were acquired by ENGIE before we put them together and create ENGIE Energy Access.
Okay. And tell us a little bit, so obviously your kind of, I suppose, mission in life is to help provide electricity to off-grid communities in sub-Saharan Africa. So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, how do you actually go about delivering that? What do your products look like?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, we have two types of activities. One is the solar home system and the other one is mini grid. I will start with solar home system, which are individual solutions that we sell to individuals in sub-Saharan Africa, mainly rural regions. This is a small kit. So for you to imagine what it can be, first of all, you can go on our website, but just trying to picture you how it looks like. It's a small box. The smallest one is a small box, maybe 10 on 10. Inside that box, there is a battery and some electronics and intelligence. It's connected to a solar panel. So all our solutions are renewable driven. And you can power with this small product up to 3 lamps and also charge a mobile phone, which is already changing the life of people because we are in our mission and we are aiming at changing positively life of our customer by giving access to other type of activities when they come back and it's totally dark outside. Yeah. And it's much more powerful than a candle or a oil lantern, etc. So that's SHS. It goes from the small one, 10 watt, as I explained, yeah, to a more bigger one, 200 watt. And there we can power a TV, a fridge, a fan, much more, a bigger number of lights, entertainment, air clipper, etc. Where we see that our customers are using them for small businesses like a restaurant, a hair salon, a bar, etc. Yeah. So that's our first product and first activity. The second one is the mini grid, as you mentioned as well. Mini grid is an infrastructure. If you want to picture it as well, it's like a small farm of solar panels that you could see in Europe and anywhere else in the world. The difference is that we are talking in megawatt and potentially gigawatts elsewhere. For us, we are talking about kilowatts. A small mini grid is around 20 kilowatts. Our biggest one is 600. Then there is a battery hole, which means that we are storing the electricity in batteries. And we distribute, so we operate also the distribution network to the villagers in a village. So we pull cable, like you would see everywhere. And at the end of this cable, there is a smart meter. The people are charging this smart meter with money and then can enjoy electricity. It's AC compared to the SHS solution DC, which means that you can use any type of appliance from any supplier.
Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, let's kind of touch on them individually then, as I think it's worth kind of exploring that. So the individual solutions you mentioned, so the kind of box the consumer would get. I mean, look, you're already making a huge impact with these. How many customers have you got? How many lives are you impacting already at the moment?
Okay, so until today, so just received the final figures for 2022. We have 1.9 million customers, which means that we have impacting 9.5 million individuals in sub-Saharan Africa.
Amazing. I mean, and they're like huge numbers. And I think by just providing something as simple as electricity to power a light when it's dark, it just, that in itself provides such a big impact on things that we just take for granted in the Western world, by being able to have the light on to cook dinner, or to be able to, for a child to study, just to be able to then do some homework of an evening, which they would really struggle to do otherwise. So it's, these kind of simple things that will sound simple have a huge impact on people's lives. And then when you are taking it to providing more electricity, where they can actually perhaps power an appliance or run a small business, it's then with the individual solutions, or indeed your mini grid solutions as well. It just it kind of it's also just helping to change people's lives and not just have a positive impact.
Yes, correct. I have plenty of stories. I'm spending some time in the field as well to understand what the needs are and what the difficulties we need to face in order to make our product impactful. For instance, just to echo what you said in terms of learning, due to COVID, some countries have stopped schools for a while. Uganda stopped and closed school for 2 years in a row, no interruption, which means that any kid, any child in Uganda had no access to school. So people were gathering, if they had not enough capacity to pay, to buy some of our product with TV, because the government put in place some content to give some opportunities to children to study still. Yeah. And thanks to the TV, they had like a virtual classroom in the village.
Amazing. So they were able to access, get access to school by being able to watch the broadcast on the television.
Correct. Yeah.
That's amazing. One thing you told me about the kind of the smaller products that that people are using in their dwellings and their homes was that it's kind of on a pay-as-you-go
yes, correct.
basis, but once the device or once the unit has been paid for, it becomes theirs, and then essentially the energy that it generates is theirs, and it becomes free in a way. So can you kind of explain how that works?
Yes, sure. So we use a platform which is owned by us. So we developed it. It's a digital platform which is totally interconnected with what we call mobile money in Africa. It's a way to transact and to trade through virtual money. There are small kiosks in Africa where you can go. It's owned by the network operator. You give cash and then they charge your mobile phone. It's like a virtual wallet.
Yeah.
And thanks to this mobile phone and a specific code, they can transact and trade with us and put money on the device. So, for instance, the smallest one, as we were discussing, this small box and the 2 lamps and the mobile phone would be charged $13 per day in order to operate. And the time to repayment is between 2 years and 3 years. It depends on the plan. It depends on the initial deposit. It depends on the capacity to pay from the customer. If this customer is performing well, overperforming, because we give also discount if the person are paying faster, and
Okay.
and the plan that he has chosen when he was entering into discussion with our sales agent. This being said, let's take the example of one of our customers that has completed the repayment. Then we call it unlocked. It means that the product is totally unlocked and free. First of all, it's quite easy to move. So if he would change house or move in another village because he has or she has found another job, this person can take the product with him or her. There is no payment to be done anymore. Our products are warranted, meaning that components are warranted for 3 years. If he or she would have repaid before the 3 years, the product is still under warranty. And if there is a problem, this person can go in one of our 400 shops across our 9 countries to get it fixed or replaced if it's a defect from our side, although it does not happen very often.
And you said that the lifespan of these products,
yes. So just to give you, yes, sorry, please go ahead.
But the lifespan is typically gonna outlast the warranty and also the repayment period for quite a long period of time as well.
Yes, correct. The first product we have are a legacy of this acquisition of those 2 companies I was talking about, and they are in the sector for a decade. And I was, for instance, in Tanzania talking with a lady, and she's still using the same product that she bought at the very early stage of the company. It's still working very, very good. I was there, so I can witness by myself. And she was so happy that she bought a second one. But which means that over 10 years, I do believe that she must have repaid the product again between 2 and 3 years. She's enjoying free electricity for 7 years.
Amazing.
And now she wants to increase the number of lights. She wants to have a second TV for her kids or her husband when they do not agree on what they want to watch in the evening. And she has bought a second one, which demonstrates that she's happy with the product as well.
Fantastic. Okay, I mean, I really like that. I think that that's a great model that someone they can then pay off for the device. And eventually it's providing free energy, and it's ultimately it's paying for itself, which is fantastic. Let's talk about the mini grids, because on mini grid, like we said, much bigger, providing much more energy, but also is able to power a lot more homes, businesses. So I mean, if we talk a bit more about that, I think I looked on the website. It said that you had 13 mini grids in operation. You told me that there's a few more, so you've now got them in 3 other countries as well. So, but you've also signed a big, a large deal in Nigeria to provide a lot more of these mini grids. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. It's still the same concept, I would say, because we want to provide electricity to off-grid region, village, communities.
Yeah.
It's not a mass market, it's an infrastructure. So we are building something to last. It starts most of the time with a tender, competitive international tenders. Companies are lining up to propose solutions. Of course, the main criteria are reliability and affordability, again. So what is the tariff that you will be able to propose to those villages? So as I was explaining, the technology is quite simple, but to the contrary of SHS, the payment is different. Not that much, but let me explain. For everyone to understand, just put you in a situation where you would have a prepaid SIM card. So basically, you have a SIM card and you want to have airtime or data, and you prepay for a certain quantity of gigabyte and a certain quantity of minutes of talk. Here it's the same. Our customer in a village are prepaying for a quantity of electricity. 1 kilowatt hour of electricity would be that amount, depending on the tariff. And then they consume it. If they consume 2 lamps, they may last for a month. or more. If they start putting fridge, they start putting TVs, they have, for instance, productive usages, which is, as you said, because there is much more power and we are in an AC environment, we can use engine, we can have welder, bakery, garage with a compressor, potabilization of water, ice making for the fisherman, dry fishing, drying the fishes in a more professional way in order to have a better output and hence to have better value when you sell them. All of this is possible with a mini grid. When you have depleted the amount which is on the smart meter, then you top up again and you have access to electricity again. As I said, we are meant to stay in those mini grids and regions for the duration of a concession that can, of course, be extended depending on the authorization from the local authorities for 15 to 20 years. So that's what we do. You were talking about Nigeria. So at the moment, we are indeed operating 16 mini grid, Tanzania, Zambia, Benin, Nigeria, and Uganda. One only on an island in Uganda. That's where we do potabilization of the lake water, but also ice for the fishermen and drying the fishes. But we have signed a contract for 120 mini grids in Nigeria, which is, we are quite proud of it. And it's a good partnership with CBA. The concept here is to create also a network of mini grids that then may unlock different kind of activities. For instance, e-mobility could be one, because the problem with the actual setting in Africa is where would you put the charging station if you don't have access to a stable grid?
Yeah.
Because we need, and let's talk about motorbike, for instance. If we know that we have a network of mini grids, 120 in a few states in Nigeria, then you could say, I know that there is a road that is a trade road between 2 points, A and B. Yeah. And the motorbike moving from A to B know that they can swap their battery or charge their battery on arrival at each point of the road. Yeah. So that's very exciting for us. 120 will be our biggest portfolio. Of course, we have a pipeline, which is also quite strong in other countries like Benin, Togo, Zambia, and hopefully Uganda, because we have already been awarded of several islands there, but we still wait for the confirmation from the government for the different authorizations. So that's where we stand in mini grid. For us, mini grid is a good way to move from changing life to changing the wealth of our customers and to enable a higher economical environment where we are. If you have still some time, I can give you an example in Zambia.
Yeah.
Our mini grid is very small in Zambia. It was the first one I visited. It's a 28 kilowatt mini grid. Before the mini grid was constructed, there is a weekly market on Tuesday morning, if I'm not mistaken, where 300 sellers were coming because the mini grid is close to the Malawi border. After the mini grid got completed, and now we are at saturation, so we are looking for additional authorization to increase capacity. This weekly market brings 1,000 people together every week. Okay. It's tripling the economical activity in this area.
Amazing. As we said at the start, I think it's the ability to not just have an impact in terms of things like lighting and appliances, but the ability to then have enough surplus of energy to provide business opportunities, and that is obviously that is just taking things to the next level. And it's so I'm really glad and interested to hear that you're kind of working on both approaches with that, and I think it's brilliant. We're kind of coming towards the end of the episode now, Gillian. But look quickly, what does the future look like for ENGIE Energy Access? Obviously we spoke about the big projects coming up in Nigeria, but what else is coming up?
Okay, thanks for asking. The future is bright, although not easy to frame it like that. Not easy because our goal is to make our product as affordable as possible, and of course, being reliable, being renewable, and making sure that we have a good relationship with our customer as well. So how do we interact with the customer? There are activities now, or let's say events in the world that are playing against that. What is playing against that was the COVID, but I think we are just at the tail of it. And we could say we went through COVID quite in a positive way. We managed to engage better. We managed to be more efficient. We managed to reduce the price of our product and so to be more affordable. But now with the Ukraine war that everyone is talking about, there is an increase of inflation. There is an increase of diesel price. There is an increase of first needs goods, cereals, etc., which is quite strong on the capacity to pay from our customer. It's the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that the number of people without access to electricity since almost 20 years were reducing year after year, has been re-increasing in 2022, and I'm expecting that it's increasing in 2023. So instead of 680 million people, we are talking about 700, maybe more.
Well, okay.
So we are fighting every day to find ways to make our product even more affordable in order to make sure that we give access to something which would not be another point of discussion in terms of CO2 emissions, etc., because we are definitely renewable driven.
Yeah.
So when you say what comes next, are we talking about solar only? So can we look at different kind of energy? There are some good progress in small wind technology. So okay. Could we go for individual solution for instance, powering our SHS? We are looking at combining the technology that we see in Europe into Africa. For instance, what we call energy community in the Netherlands, which has kicked off quite well there. Can we try to mesh our solution in a village in order to share the electricity between the customer? For instance, you would be moving somewhere to see your family and a wedding of one of your relatives, and you don't use your electricity for a week. Can your neighbor use it? Right. And not being blocked by the capacity of his or her individual solution. Right. That's another. Going into energy as a service is another one. There are many ways to continue helping our customer to change their life and also to become more self-sufficient, like water pump to increase production of fields. We have launched a mosquito killer to try to fight against malaria. We do think about giving access to content, etc. So there are a lot of things in our pipeline, and we need means as well. So we are engaging with donors, with funders, commercial banks, IFIs, in order to make sure that the limit of our imagination is not the capacity of funding them.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, like I said, the future does sound bright. It sounds like there's a lot of great initiatives that you're working on, and that I'm sure we'll be hearing about in the future as well. So look, that's a wrap from our side. That kind of finishes up the episode. So it's been great to have you on the Impact series, Gillian, and you know, we look forward to kind of keeping an eye on ENGIE Energy Access and hearing more about the huge impact you're having in Africa and other places as well.
Thank you very much, Michael. It was really pleasant, and I really like discussing with you. And do not hesitate to contact me again, and I will give you an update on all those code ideas we have. Thanks a lot.
Great. Brilliant. Well, look, thanks a lot, Gillian. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.